You crack through the shell, and the first thing you smell is blood. There are 5 apex predator species that don't belong together in one ecosystem. You're the smallest killer here. Everything else wants you dead before you're old enough to fight back. Let's see just how long you'll last. You hatch alongside 3 siblings. 3 other things that smell like you and move like you. Something deep in your gut tells you that they're the same as you. Not a threat. Pip is the smallest. He's nervous in a way that seems annoying at first, but that nervousness is what keeps him alive. Pip hangs back. He checks where you are before he moves anywhere, and when the adults bring food, Pip waits until everyone else has eaten and then sneaks whatever scraps are left. You don't know it yet, but Pip is the reason you survive your first year, because Pip watches everything and you learn to watch Pip. The first night after hatching, you wake up cold. Pip is pressed against your side, shivering. You don't know what comfort is, but you shift closer anyway. He stops shivering, and neither of you move until the morning. Twig is skinny and loud. He's completely convinced he's already the apex predator of this entire continent. He steals food directly from your mouth before you finish swallowing. He picks fights with insects and loses. He struts around the nest like he owns the whole territory, making threat displays at rocks, shadows, and one time his own reflection in the water. The adults ignore him completely, and you kinda love him for it. One morning, Twig finds a feather, probably dropped by something that flew over the nest. He carries it around with him for 3 days, growling at anyone who gets too close. It's his feather. He sleeps with it tucked under his chin, and when the wind finally takes it, he searches the entire nest for hours, making small, confused sounds. You help him look, but you both never find it. And then there's Dent, and he has a visible dent in his skull from a rough hatching. Something went wrong when he was cracking through, and now there's this permanent dip right above his left eye. He walks into things, he trips over his own feet, and the first time he tries to make a hunting call, he trips mid-sound and face plants directly into the mud. He gets up, mud dripping from his snout, and tries again, and falls again. Dent should not have survived hatching, but Dent somehow survives everything. When it rains, and it rains hard in your territory, the 4 of you huddle under an overhang, while the adults stand guard in the downpour. Dent always ends up on the outside of the pile getting dripped on. He never complains. He just sits there, blinking water out of his eyes, occasionally sneezing. You start having to pull him towards the center. It becomes a habit. The first few weeks of your life are chaos. 4 juvenile Allosaurus are trying to figure out how to exist, and somehow not killing each other in the process. Mostly. The food thing starts on day 3. Your mother drops a chunk of flesh in front of you, your first real food. Not the pre-chewed slop that you've been living on, because your jaws are finally strong enough to tear. You open your mouth to bite down. Twig takes it, just snatches it right out from under you, and swallows it before you can even process what happened. Then he looks at you like you're the one who did something wrong. This becomes a daily ritual. Every single meal turns into you versus Twig over every single scrap. Sometimes you win, but mostly you don't. And either way, you get faster. You start reading his movements before he takes them. You learn where the food is going to land and how to get there first. Twig is training you in his own obnoxious way. He doesn't know that though. He just thinks he's winning. Nights are cold. Your body runs hot. You're basically a small furnace wrapped in scales. But when the sun goes down, the temperature drops hard. And 4 bodies pressed together generate more heat than one. So you pile up every night in a tangle of tails and snouts and juvenile spines, crammed into whatever corner of the nest site blocks the wind. You wake up one morning with Dent's face pressed directly against yours. His breath is terrible, like something died in his throat, which technically something did. He ate part of a carcass that had been sitting in the sun too long. You try to move, he grumbles and presses closer. This is your life now. But here's the thing. Years later, when you're fully grown and could sleep anywhere in your territory, you'll still prefer sleeping in a pile. Something about the weight of another body against yours, the sound of breathing that isn't a threat, it never stops feeling like safety. By week 6, you're old enough to try making the sound. The adults have this call. It's a low rumble that starts deep in the chest and carries across the whole territory. It means pack assembling. When you hear it, you come. When you make it, they come to you. That's the theory anyway. Your first attempt comes out as a pathetic whistle. The adults don't even look up. Pip tries next. His is somehow worse, and it's more of a wheeze than an actual vocalization. Twig opens his mouth and produces a sound that attracts a swarm of biting insects instead of predators. He spends the next hour snapping at bugs while pretending that was his plan all along. It's Dent's turn now. He opens his mouth Nothing comes out. Complete silence. He tries again, straining so hard his whole body shakes. Still nothing. You all practice for weeks. Nobody gets it right, but you practice together. Every evening, the four of you are lined up making terrible noises at the sky. It becomes a ritual, something you do because you're a unit. You're a pack, not because it's working. Now, real quick, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, I need you to understand what's about to happen to these siblings over the next 20 minutes. You're going to want to be emotionally prepared, so you should hit the subscribe button. It's free, and the like button because it's free too. And trust me, you're going to want to use the comment section once you see how this story ends. Let's move on to the lizard thing. Twig corners a small territorial lizard near the edge of the nest site. It's maybe the length of his foot. It's not a threat to anything, but Twig decides that this is his moment, his chance to prove he's the predator he keeps telling everyone he is. He pounces, and the lizard bites him directly on the nose and runs away. Twig screams. The sound echoes across the entire territory. Adults come running from 3 different directions, expecting a Tyrannosaur attack or a pack of competing predators. They then find Twig crying over a lizard bite. The adults leave, and Twig pretends this never happened. You never let him forget this. There's a watering hole about 200 meters from the nest. The adults use it, other predators use it, things you can't see and can't identify use it. And sometimes they leave tracks in the mud that don't look like anything you recognize. One morning, something is in the water. You can't see what, the surface is still, but there's a shape just below it, a shadow that doesn't move right. Pip refuses to approach. Dent already drank from it and seems fine, but Dent puts anything in his mouth. That's not reassuring. Twig announces he'll go first and puffs up his chest and takes 1 step forward. Eventually you go. Nothing happens. The shadow turns out to be a dead log that sank weird. Pip finally follows, pressing so close to your flank that he's practically underneath you the whole way there and back. He does this every time you go for water for the next 3 months. Some nights are quieter than others. On those nights, when the distant sounds of larger things hunting have faded, you pile together in the usual tangle. The air settles into something almost peaceful, Pip on one side, Dent's terrible breath on the other, and Twig hogging the warmest spot because of course he is. Your mother stands nearby, her silhouette against the darkening sky. What you're starting to realize is that she hasn't eaten in 2 days. Everything she scavenges goes to the 4 of you. Her ribs are starting to show through her hide, but she doesn't seem to notice and doesn't seem to care. You don't understand sacrifice yet. You don't understand that she's choosing to starve so you can grow. You just understand that when she's standing there between you and the dark, between you and everything that hunts in it, nothing can reach you. And you fall asleep feeling something that you don't have a word for. The nest next to you had 4 eggs too. It's a different clutch from different parents in the Allosaurus colony, but close enough that you can see the hatchling sometimes. 4 more juveniles that might have become something, and one morning, one of them is gone. You didn't see what happened. Nobody can explain it to you because Allosaurs do not teach through explanation. You just heard the sound during the night. Heavy footsteps that shake the ground slightly, a wet crunch, and then silence. When dawn comes, there's an empty space where something used to be. You wait for it to come back. You don't understand death yet, so waiting seems logical. Things leave and things return. That's how the world works, but it doesn't come back. Your mother pulls the 4 of you closer that night. She doesn't sleep. Her head stays up, scanning the dark until the sun rises. Your family group is actually bigger than just your mother and your clutch. You have 8 adults total, a rotating cast of sub-adults who come and go depending on territory pressure and mating season, and whatever juveniles manage to survive long enough to count. You're all living at the edge of the ecosystem. Not the prime hunting grounds where the giant sauropod herds move through, but the margins, broken terrain, dense cover, kind of landscape that the real apex predators don't bother claiming because there's easier prey in the open. This is where your kind holds on, not by dominating the ecosystem, but by existing in its cracks. You learn the calls fast because you have to. The low rumble means food. Someone made a kill or found a carcass and the pack is assembling to feed. When you hear it, you move. The sharp bark means scatter. Something bigger is coming, and the only play is to vanish into the broken terrain before it arrives. When you hear it, you run. Then there's the silence. The silence is the worst one. It means something is already here, already close, and everyone has gone still to avoid drawing its attention. When the territory goes quiet, when all that noise from 8 adults moving and feeding just stops, you freeze wherever you are. You don't move until someone breaks the silence. Sometimes the silence lasts hours. You watch the adults hunt for the first time when you're about 3 months old. 8 of them are working together on a sauropod juvenile. The target is maybe 4 times their size, but it's young and separated from the herd and limping on one leg. It's bad odds for a solo predator, but perfect odds for a coordinated pack. The strike is beautiful. They don't bite in the way you imagined, clamping down and holding on. Instead, they swing their skulls like hatchets. The falcon strike, upper jaw driving downward, teeth cutting through flesh in long ribbons. They hit and tear and pull back before the sauropod can strike back. Then they hit again from a different angle. Flesh peels away in sheets, blood soaks the ground. The sauropod tries to run, but can't build speed because every time it gets moving, another strike opens another wound. It takes 20 minutes. When it's over, the carcass is steaming in the morning air and the pack is feeding in an order that you don't fully understand yet. That's what you're supposed to become. That night, the 4 of you try to copy what you saw. On a dead log, obviously. Twig announces that he's leading the charge. He does this very loudly with multiple threat displays, even though there's nothing to threaten. Pip refuses to participate until you physically nudge him towards the log. Dent charges before anyone's ready, trips over a root, and bounces off the log face first. The hunt lasts about 10 seconds before it completely falls apart. All 4 of you end up just biting the log in random places while Twig yells instructions that nobody follows because Allosaurus do not speak words, so it just sounds like random screaming. The adults are watching from a distance. None of them step in. You realize later that this is how they teach. They let you fail until you figure out why you failed. And you have a lot of learning to do. 6 months in, your life gets smaller. The same Tyrannosaur that took the juvenile from the neighboring nest has learned your territory. It's figured out that the margins are where the easy prey hides. The juveniles, the injured, the old. It doesn't patrol here constantly, but it passes through often enough that everyone learns to recognize the ground vibrations of its approach. That morning, the pack is mid-hunt. Another sauropod juvenile, another coordinated strike, but you're not participating yet. You're still too small, but you're watching from a covered position, learning the angles. Then the silence hits. Every adult stops moving. The sauropod, half dead and bleeding, stops thrashing. Even the insects go quiet. Ground vibrations getting closer. The Tyrannosaurus has caught the scent of blood. The pack scatters, 8 adults vanishing into the broken terrain in 8 different directions, moving faster than you've ever seen them move. Your mother grabs you by the scruff and runs. You catch a glimpse of Pip doing the same thing. Another adult has him, dragging him towards cover. Dent is somehow already gone. Of course he is, but Twig doesn't scatter. He's standing there, facing the direction the vibrations are coming from. His body is rigid. You'll understand later that it was fear frozen into defiance. The fight response kicking in when running was the only thing that made sense. He's posturing at a Tyrannosaur. The same confidence that made him steal food from your mouth, the same aggression that made him fight a lizard and lose, the same absolute certainty that he was already the apex predator of this continent, yet despite being just a few feet tall, he doesn't run towards an adult. And it's too late. You see it happen. Your mother is dragging you towards cover, but your head is turned back. You see the jaws close around something that was your brother 3 seconds ago. He goes silent, mid-scream. Then there's 3 of you. 2 weeks later, the same Tyrannosaur comes back. It's learned that this territory produces easy kills, that the margins have soft targets, that patience plus return visits equals reliable meals. This time, there's no hunt to distract it, no blood scent leading it in. It's just moving through your territory, searching, and its path brings it directly towards the nest site where you and Pip and Dent are sheltering. Your mother sees it coming before you do. She positions herself between it and you. 800 kilograms of adult Allosaurus, which sounds like a lot until you remember that the thing walking towards her is 5 times her mass and built to crush bone with a single bite. She can't win this fight. She knows she can't win this fight. A direct confrontation with a Tyrannosaur isn't a fight. It's a death sentence. But she can buy time. She charges. Not at the Tyrannosaur itself. She's not stupid. She charges at an angle that makes it turn towards her. React to her. Focus on her instead of 3 juveniles scrambling for cover behind her. You run. Pip is already running. Dent runs the wrong direction at first, then corrects, then trips, and keeps running. Behind you, sounds, impacts, roars that shake the air. Something wet and final. You don't look back. When you return to the nest site the next morning, she's not there. Just drag marks leading towards the tree line. in silence where her breathing used to be. 3 juveniles, alone in an ecosystem that eats juveniles for practice. The next few months are the hardest thing you'll ever survive. 3 juveniles without adult protection in a territory that a Tyrannosaur has already marked as a food source. None of you should make it to adulthood, but something keeps you going. Pip's paranoia, Dent's inexplicable ability to stumble away from danger at exactly the right moment, and the fact that you watched your mother die, teaching you what protection actually costs. You learn to hunt together. Not like the adults, you're too small for the falcon strike to deal real damage, and there's only 3 of you instead of 8, but you develop something. A system. Pip spots the prey because Pip is always watching, always scanning, always tracking movement at the edge of his vision. He sees things before anyone else sees them. Dent flushes it because Dent is loud and clumsy, and when he moves towards something, it moves away from him. He's basically a walking panic button, and he doesn't even have to try. You make the kill, because you've been practicing your strike on every carcass the adults abandoned, every dead thing you could find, every chance to feel your jaws connect with flesh. You're fast now, faster than Twig ever was. The first time it works, the first time the 3 of you actually coordinate, actually take down something that could have fed any of you alone, something clicks. This is what you are. Not the biggest thing in the world, not the apex predator, not the bone crusher that rules the open plains, but you're the thing that survives by being too fast, too coordinated, and too stubborn to die when you're supposed to. Pip makes the hunting call that night, the low rumble, the one you all failed at for weeks, and it comes out perfect. You survive to adulthood, all 3 of you. The clumsy one and the cautious one, and whatever you're becoming. Years pass, Pip gets less nervous, or maybe he just gets better at hiding it. Dent stays clumsy. The clumsiness starts to look almost on purpose, like he's figured out how to use it. You grow into your body, into your bite, into the hunting patterns that will define the rest of your life. You find a mate. Her name, if Allosaurus had names, would be something like Sharpclaw. She's got scarring across her forelimbs from fights from before you met her, and she hunts with a precision that makes your pack look sloppy. She claimed territory at the margins before you arrived, and she does not give ground easily. It takes 3 months before she stops treating you like a threat. It takes another 6 before you're hunting together. It takes a full year before she lets you near her nest site. Then there's eggs, 3 of them. For a moment, everything feels almost manageable. You figured out how to survive in an ecosystem that wants you dead. You have a pack, a mate, an offspring on the way. But 2 territories over, the Majungasaurus colony is starting to fall apart, and everything that collapse pushes out has to go somewhere. Here's what nobody tells you about having offspring. Suddenly you understand exactly what your mother felt, standing between danger and the things that need her, choosing to starve so they can eat. You get it now. And understanding makes everything worse, because now you know what she was thinking the moment she charged that Tyrannosaur. She was thinking about you. The eggs hatch on a morning so quiet you can hear the shells cracking from across the clearing. 3 of them, pushing through almost in sync, wet and confused and immediately hungry. Sharpclaw is there first. She knows what to do in a way that surprises you, or shouldn't surprise you because she's done this before. Those scars on her forelimbs aren't just from territory fights. Some of them are for protecting nests that didn't survive. The first weeks with hatchlings are different from anything you've lived through. You remember being small. You remember Pip and Twig and Dent and the chaos of 4 juveniles figuring out the world together. But watching it from the other side, being the one who stands guard, the one who brings food, the one who scans the dark for threats, puts everything in a new light. Your mother did this for you every night. Every hunt she skipped because leaving meant leaving you open. Every meal she didn't eat. You bring back prey and drop it in front of the hatchlings, and one of them does something that stops you cold. It snatches food from its sibling's mouth. You've seen this before. You've lived this before. Twig used to do exactly this every single day till the day he died, still thinking that he was untouchable. The hatchling looks at its sibling like it did something wrong. The same expression, the same confidence. You don't name any of them, not yet. Naming makes the hurt worse, and the chances of all 3 making it are bad enough that you don't want to stack the pain. Pip makes a small sound next to you, something between sympathy and warning. He remembers Twig too. Sharpclaw's territory runs right up against what used to be Majungasaurus land. Used to be, because over the past year, the colony 2 territories over has been eating itself alive. And now that whole stretch is just empty. No more distant roars, no more territorial marks being refreshed, no more anything. You watched it happen in pieces during drought seasons when everyone's range overlaps at the water sources. The Majungasaurus adults start turning on each other first, not scrapping over mates or land, but actually hunting each other, eating each other. Then they started going after their own young. Here's what you need to understand about Majungasaurus. They evolved alone. One apex predator on an island. No competition, no pressure to figure out how to share space with anything their own size. Their whole approach to other large predators was stay away from me or die. And that works fine when you're the only thing in your ecosystem worth worrying about. It works less fine when you're dropped into a continent with 4 other apex predator species and suddenly resources are tight. Their response to stress was cannibalism. It's built into how they operate. When things got hard, they ate the weakest members of their own colony to free up food for everyone else. And once that pattern kicks in, it keeps kicking in. The adults eat the juveniles, then the adults start eating each other. Before long, a whole colony collapses because their survival strategy was basically consume yourself into nothing. You watched the last group of them disappear during the dry season. Adults and young, both gone within weeks. Their territory just opened up, and that's a problem because empty territory doesn't stay empty for long. The thing that moves into the gap arrives 3 days after the last Majungasaurus vanishes. It's a Tyrannosaur, young, not one of the territory-holding giants that rule the prime hunting grounds, but something in between, still figuring out its own strength and very, very hungry. You've seen adults get pushed out before. The big ones don't share well, so younger Tyrannosaurs get shoved to the margins, forced to carve out space wherever they can. Usually they end up somewhere far from the other apex predators, somewhere with enough prey to keep them fed while they grow. This one got pushed into the gap the Majungasaurus left behind, which means it's now your neighbor. The first time you see it up close, it's drinking at the shared water source during early morning. You're downwind, hidden in the tree line with Pip and Dent, watching. It's already twice your size, built heavier than any Allosaurus, with those jaws that can crack bone like you crack eggshells. When it moves, the ground shakes in a way that tells you exactly how much weight is coming if it ever decides to charge. Pip makes a small sound. You know what he's thinking without him saying it. This is the kind of thing that killed Twig, that killed your mother, and it's 50 meters from your nest. For a while, it works. The young Tyrannosaur doesn't seem interested in your territory. There's easier prey in the open land it inherited. Herds that haven't learned to fear the specific hunter yet. Carcasses left by the Majungasaurus that haven't fully rotted. It feeds well, grows bigger, and mostly ignores the broken terrain where your pack operates. Your hatchlings get older. They start making sounds, start practicing the calls the way you practiced them years ago. None of them get it right. One of them keeps tripping over its own feet in a way that makes Dent visibly proud, or whatever passes for proud in an Allosaurus. Sharpclaw hunts with you. Your coordination gets tighter, Pip handles scouting, Dent handles slushing, and you and Sharpclaw handle the kills. You start to think maybe this is sustainable. Maybe you found the balance, survival in the margins, offspring that might actually reach adulthood, a pack that functions. Maybe this is what winning looks like when you're the smallest apex predator in an ecosystem that wants you dead. But then the Tyrannosaurs run out of easy prey. The morning it happens, you're not there. You're hunting with Sharpclaw and 2 other adults from the extended pack, working a target about 1 kilometer from the nest. Pip stayed behind to watch the hatchlings. That's how you've been doing it. Someone always stays because leaving them alone isn't an option anymore. You don't know something is wrong until you hear it. The scatter call, sharp and desperate and coming from the direction of the nest. Sharpclaw breaks into a run before you fully process the sound. You follow. Dent is behind you, somehow already past both of you despite starting furthest away. And panic apparently makes him faster instead of clumsier. By the time you get there, it's already over. The young Tyrannosaur is standing in the middle of your nest site. It's bigger than when you first saw it. Months of feeding the dead zone have added serious mass. Its jaws are red. 2 shapes are on the ground that used to be hatchlings. Pip is between the Tyrannosaur and something that's moving. Your third hatchling. The one that stole food from its siblings, the one that reminded you of Twig. Pip is bleeding from a gash across his flank that's deep enough to see muscle. He's not moving towards cover. He's not running. He's standing his ground. You've known Pip since the moment you both cracked through your shells. He was always the careful one, The one who hung back, who watched, who waited until he knew it was safe. His whole life was built around not taking risks, not being the first one in, not putting himself where danger could reach him easily. But right now, he's not moving. The Tyrannosaur takes a step towards the surviving hatchling. Pip shifts to block it. The Tyrannosaur swings its head, trying to get around him, and Pip shifts again. He can't win this. He can't even slow it down. Everything about his body, the build, the bite force, the mass is wrong for this fight. His whole survival strategy has always been, don't be in situations like this. And yet, he's choosing to be here anyway. You charge. Sharpclaw charges, dent, and for once in his life, he doesn't trip. He just runs straight and fast, like all of that clumsiness was saving up for this one moment. The other adults from your pack are closing in too, drawn by the sounds. But you're not going to make it in time. The Tyrannosaur can see you coming, decides to take what it came for before you arrive. It lunges for the hatchling, and Pip lunges for its throat. The jaws close on something, but it's not the hatchling. It's Pip. He twisted at the last second, putting himself between those bone-crushing teeth and the thing he was protecting. You hear a sound that you'll never unhear, something between a crunch and a cry that cuts off halfway through. Then Pip is gone, and your hatchling is running. The Tyrannosaur doesn't chase. It's eaten. 3 kills in 1 visit, 2 hatchlings and 1 adult Allosaurus who was worth more than anything it's taken before. Doesn't need to hunt the small thing fleeing into the brush. It stays in your territory for another hour, feeding, claiming, making sure you know this belongs to it now. You watch from the tree line with Sharpclaw next to you, her whole body rigid with something you can't name. Dent is somewhere behind you, unusually still. The surviving hatchling is pressed against your flank, shaking. You can't challenge it. Even with your whole pack, you can't win a direct fight against something that size. The falcon strike works on prey that will eventually bleed out, but a Tyrannosaur can take dozens of wounds and still crush you in a single bite. So you watch, and you wait, and eventually it leaves, dragging part of what used to be your life with it. 1 made it. That's what keeps running through you, over and over in the days that follow. 1 out of 3, 1 hatchling still breathing, still growing, still learning the calls. Pip died, so that number wasn't 0. Your mother died so that you could be here watching this hatchling survive. Pip died so this hatchling could live. There's a thread now, sacrifice after sacrifice, each one buying time for what comes next. That's not victory. That's barely survival, but it's something. The surviving hatchling sticks close to you now, closer than the others ever did. It learned something in those seconds when Pip stood between it and death, something about what protection costs, what it means when someone chooses to stay instead of run. You think about your mother against that Tyrannosaur years ago. You think about her silhouette against the evening sky, all those nights you fell asleep not knowing what she was giving up to keep you fed. The hatchling knows now, the way you eventually knew. The young Tyrannosaur doesn't leave the area. It stays, it settles into the territory it took from you and patrols the edges like it owns the whole margin, which at this point, it basically does. You've been pushed back, pressed into the dense brush and broken ground that's too much hassle for a Tyrannosaur to bother navigating. You're alive, but you're smaller than before. And then, something shifts. A week after the attack, you spot the Tyrannosaur hunting at the edge of the dead zone. It's chasing something, one of the mid-sized prey animals that move through the open land, normal behavior. Except its stride is off. It's favoring one leg, moving slower than it should. Something got to it. Maybe a hunt that went wrong, maybe a run-in with another Tyrannosaur, maybe just bad luck. Whatever happened, it's hurt now. You shouldn't be watching this closely. You shouldn't be tracking where it rests, noting when it drinks alone, paying attention to every detail of how it moves. You shouldn't be thinking what you're thinking. Allosaurus don't hunt Tyrannosaurs. The size gap is too huge. The risk is too high. Your whole survival strategy is built around avoiding these things, not engaging them. But something in you keeps circling back, injured, slower than before, alone. Pip is dead because of this thing. Your hatchlings are dead because of this thing. And now it's limping through your territory like it didn't take everything from you. You don't understand revenge. You don't have a way to think about it. But you know injured prey when you see it. Nobody coordinates what happens next. That's the thing about Allosaurus. They see the same patterns, reach the same conclusions, and react the same way without planning it. When every adult in your pack has lost something to the same animal, and that animal goes vulnerable, everyone ends up in the same place at the same time. You don't plan the convergence. It just happens. The Tyrannosaur is drinking at the seasonal water source when you spot it. It's early morning, mist hanging low over the open ground. It's alone. No other large predators in sight, no competition for the water. Just a young Tyrannosaur limping slightly as it lowers that massive head to drink. You're watching from the tree line. So is Sharpclaw, about 30 meters to your left. Dent is somewhere behind you. You can't see him, but you can hear him trying to move quietly and failing at it. Then you notice movement on the far side of the clearing. 3 more adults from your extended pack. They've been tracking this thing too. Different territory, different losses, but the same conclusion. The Tyrannosaur finishes drinking and starts to move. Its stride is still wrong. That injured leg isn't healing right. Every step looks like effort. 6 Allosaurus watch it go. Nobody makes a noise. Nobody grunts. Nobody makes a call. But when the Tyrannosaur moves towards the narrower part of the water channel, the section where the terrain funnels everything into a single path, all 6 of you start moving at the same time. This is not how Allosaurus hunt Tyrannosaurs. Allosaurus don't hunt Tyrannosaurs. That's the whole point. The size gap is too big. The risk is too high. One bite from those jaws can end you. The bone-crushing power that your species simply doesn't have. But this one is hurt and alone and moving into terrain that favors numbers over raw strength. You see the pattern. Injured target, restricted movement, multiple attackers. This is what the falcon strike was built for. Not Tyrannosaur specifically, but the approach. Bleeding something out because you can't overpower it. The Tyrannosaur enters the narrow channel. Rock walls are on both sides with maybe 15 meters of clearance. It's enough room for it to move, but not enough room for it to spin freely or charge at full speed. Sharpclaw is the first one in. She doesn't announce it. She just breaks from the tree line and sprints towards the Tyrannosaur's flank, head low, jaws open. The falcon strike lands before the Tyrannosaur even knows she's there. The upper jaw driving down like a hatchet, teeth cutting through flesh in one long ribbon. She's already pulling back by the time it roars, already out of range before that massive head can swing towards her. Blood runs down its flank. Not fatal, not even close to fatal, but the wound is open and it's bleeding. And now the Tyrannosaur knows it's not alone. You hit it from the opposite side, the same motion, the same hatchet swing strike. Your teeth open a parallel wound across the hindquarters, just above the injured leg. The Tyrannosaur roars again and spins towards you, but you're already gone, backing into the rock formations where it can't follow without squeezing into spaces that don't fit its body. Dent comes next. He trips over something during his charge, a root, a rock, his own feet, who knows, and somehow ends up sliding underneath the Tyrannosaur instead of beside it. For one terrible second, he's directly under its belly, completely exposed. The Tyrannosaur stomps down and misses. Dent scrambles out the other side, bleeding from a scrape but alive. He always survives. You stopped questioning it years ago. The other 3 adults close in from the far side. The channel fills with movement. What happens over the next few hours isn't a fight. It's patience and blood. Each strike opens a new wound. Each wound bleeds. The Tyrannosaur can't close them fast enough, can't catch any of you long enough to land a killing blow. It can't escape without getting past all 6 of you. It tries. God, it tries. It charges Sharpclaw and she vanishes into the rocks. It spins towards the 3 adults on its left and you open another cut on its right. It stumbles on the injured leg and 2 more strikes land before it can recover. The roars get weaker. The movements get slower. Blood loss is doing what no single Allosaurus could do alone. But somewhere in the 3rd hour, one of the other adults, a female you've hunted beside for years, gets caught. She goes in for a flank strike and the Tyrannosaur reads it. It catches her mid-swing with a tail whip that sounds like thunder. She hits the rock wall and doesn't get up. You don't have time to process it. The Tyrannosaur is still standing, still dangerous, still capable of killing anyone who hesitates. You keep pressing. Everyone keeps pressing. More cuts, more blood, more time. By the 4th hour, the Tyrannosaur stops trying to fight back. It's just trying to stay upright. Its legs shake with the effort of not collapsing. And that's when Sharpclaw opens the killing wound. A strike to the throat, deep enough to hit something vital. The Tyrannosaur makes a sound you've never heard before. Something between a groan and a wheeze. its legs buckle. It goes down. 6 went into that channel, and 5 walked out. The Tyrannosaur lies on its side, chest still moving in shallow, ragged pulls. It takes another 20 minutes to fully stop. Nobody finishes it faster. Nobody has the energy or the will to get close enough to those jaws while it's still breathing. You stand on the rocks above the channel and watch it die. This is the thing that killed Pip, that killed your hatchlings, that took your territory and your peace and your belief that being careful was enough to keep everyone safe. It's dying now, bleeding out in a rocky channel because 6 Allosaurus all had the same idea at the same time. You don't feel victory. All you feel is something that might be relief, maybe, or exhaustion, or just the absence of a weight that you've been carrying for weeks. The constant tracking, the watching, the waiting for the right moment. That weight lifts, but it doesn't bring Pip back. It doesn't bring your hatchlings back, but it's something. Do you return to your territory that night? The real territory, the broken terrain and dense cover that you've been calling home since you were a juvenile running from giants. It feels different now, bigger, or maybe you just feel less pressed here. Sharpclaw's there. The surviving hatchling, which is growing fast now, almost juvenile sized, is there. Dent is there, sporting a new scrape that'll probably scar, one more mark on a body that should have stopped collecting marks years ago. The female who died in the channel, you don't dwell on her. You can't. The pack loses members sometimes and you keep moving or you stop existing. The days after blur into each other, hunting, resting, watching the hatchling practice its strikes on dead logs, missing badly and trying again. The same cycle that you went through, the same cycle Pip and Twig and Dent went through. Some patterns repeat and some things keep going. The seasons turn. The hatchling grows into a juvenile, then a subadult, and then an adult. It finds a mate, another Allosaurus from the extended pack network, someone whose territory overlaps with yours during the dry months. They pair off the same way you and Sharpclaw paired off. Months of wariness, then tolerance, and something that looks like partnership from the outside. They have offspring. 3 of them, because apparently that's the number your line keeps landing on. You watch them hatch at a different nest site, different territory, but you're there anyway. Lurking at the edge of the clearing the way Pip used to lurk, watching without stepping in. Old habits from a lifetime of being the one who watches. The hatchlings stumble over each other. One of them trips over its own feet immediately, and something about the way it falls makes your chest tight. Dent is there too. He's slower now, moving with a stiffness that wasn't there a few years ago. Still alive, still somehow surviving things that should have killed him decades ago. Still walking into objects while he's not paying attention. When one of the hatchlings trips, Dent makes a small sound, almost like approval. Watching your offspring's offspring learn to hunt changes something in you. It happens on a morning not unlike the morning you watched the adults take down your first sauropod all those years ago. The young ones are trying to coordinate, badly, chaotically, with one of them going the wrong direction, another one falling over during the approach. But they're doing it. The falcon strike that one of them lands is ugly and off angle, but it's a strike. Flesh opens, blood flows, the prey goes down eventually, more through stubbornness than skill, but still it goes down. They eat together afterward, making sounds that might be celebration or might just be hunger finally satisfied. You recognize those sounds. You made them once, a lifetime ago, when you and Pip and Dent brought down your first coordinated kill. Pip. You still remember him watching everything. Still remember him standing between the Tyrannosaur and your hatchling, choosing not to run when running was all he'd ever done. You remember Twig stealing your food from your mouth, your mother standing guard in the darkness choosing to starve so you could eat. They're all gone, all of them except Dent, who refuses to die no matter how many times the universe gives him the opportunity. But their line isn't gone. The things they taught you, how to watch, how to move, how to put yourself between danger and the ones you're protecting, those things live in the hunting calls your grandchildren are learning to make. You're not the apex predator. You never were. The bone crushers still rule the open ground, and the giant packs still control the prime territory. The hierarchy hasn't changed. The ecosystem didn't reorganize itself because you outlasted one threat. You've spent your entire life in the margins, in the cracks, in the spaces that bigger things don't bother to claim. But you're still here. 15 years of hunting in the broken terrain, 15 years of scattering and regrouping, losing and surviving, watching your kind get picked off by things twice your size and somehow staying alive anyway. You're the smallest apex predator in an ecosystem that never stopped trying to kill you. And you're still standing in the same kind of territory where your mother taught you what it means to put yourself between danger and the ones you love. Dent nudges against your flank. He's done this since you were juveniles, huddled together for warmth back when his breath was terrible and his coordination was worse. The breath is still terrible. The coordination hasn't improved, but he's here, and he's been here the whole time. One evening, it starts to cool. Your offspring's offspring finish eating and pile together as the light fades. Tails and snouts tangled the same way you once tangled with Pip and Twig and Dent back before you understood what any of this cost. Sharpclaw settles beside you. Her markings are faded now, the scars on her forelimbs smoothed by time. She's been hunting beside you for 15 years. You don't have a word for what that means, but you understand it the same way you understood your mother's presence all those nights ago. The feeling that while she's here, nothing feels quite as dangerous. Something in you settles. Not victory, not dominance. You didn't beat the ecosystem. You didn't climb to the top of anything. You just lasted. The light goes golden, then orange, then dim. The sounds of the grandchildren fade as they fall asleep, piled together the way families pile together. You lower your head and close your eyes. And for the first time that you can remember, you rest without listening for what's coming next. But this story isn't over, because there are multiple other dinosaurs in this ecosystem that we haven't talked about yet. And if you want to see that story, then you should definitely like this video and comment down below what other dinosaur simulations you would like to hear about. If this video gets 40,000 likes, then I will make a part 2 talking about the other dinosaurs in this deadly apex predator ecosystem. Also, thank you so much to all the support on the recent videos. The channel has been absolutely exploding, and I could not ask for more support and love. If there's any type of content I can make more of for you guys, please let me know, as I would love to do it. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, then you can click the one that's on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.